You ever wonder why the pay is so high in the valley? It's not just the mountain grades or the risk of a runaway. They pay us for the silence. They pay us to keep our mouths shut when we pull into the harbor with one less car than we started with, even if the couplings are still locked tight. This morning, as I was prepping this haul of empties out of the goods factory, the air felt thick. I walked the length of the train, tapping the wheels with my hammer. Clink, clink, clink. Then I hit container 309. Thud. It didn't ring like hollow steel. It sounded like I'd hit a slab of raw meat. I looked up at the corner of the box, and there it was, a faded chalk mark, a 7, inside a circle. See, the old-timers say Sector 7 didn't exist on any official site map. It was a basement level built deep into the mountain rock beneath the factory floor. Whatever they loaded in there back in the 90s didn't require manifests. It required lead lining, 3-inch steel casings, and armed guards who didn't look you in the eye. Today, for some reason, the valley decided that container 309 wasn't as empty as the paperwork claimed. As I hooked up the air hoses, I swear I felt a vibration coming from inside that box, not a machine hum, but a low, rhythmic thumping, like a heartbeat. We're hitting the long descent toward the coast now. This is where, highball, Harrison used to say, the phantom weight starts to settle in. I'm on a 2% downhill grade. My engine braking is engaged, and I should be coasting. But look at the ammeter. The needles are buried in the red. The turbo is whining like a wounded animal, screaming just to keep us at 30 miles per hour. Something back there in container 309 is pulling back. It's pinning the tracks to the earth. I remember Harrison's last run before he vanished. He told me, "Son, if the train feels heavy on a downhill, don't look in the mirror. You'll see the silhouettes of the men who work the Sector 7 lines. They're just trying to get home, but their home isn't on any map you've got." The temperature in the cab just plummeted. Look at the glass. Frost is crawling up the window in the middle of a summer afternoon. And there, in the reflection, I see a hand pressed against the outside of the cab. A long, thin hand, white as bone, with too many knuckles. I'm not reaching for the radio. I'm not slowing down. If whatever is in that container wants to hitch a ride to the coast, I'm going to give it the fastest ride of its life. The harbor cranes are coming into view now, looking like skeletal birds waiting for a meal. The weight is still there, dragging on my engine, making the whole locomotive groan. I've heard stories of drivers who got curious during this run. They'd stop in the middle of the woods to check their brakes, and they'd find the airlines weren't leaking. They were being breathed into. I'm pulling into the yard limits now. I'm going to drop this consist at track 4 and sign the manifest without a word. Because I know how this ends. I know that when the yard crew opens container 309, they'll find it completely empty. But they'll also find the floor covered in fresh, wet mud from a forest 10 miles back, and the interior will be so cold it'll turn their breath to mist. Harrison once said he quit because he refused to haul things that weren't finished being born yet. I used to think he was crazy. But as I pull the brake handle and hear that final hiss of air, I can feel the weight lift. Container 309 is empty again. I'm going to walk straight to the diner. I'm not going to look back. Because if I look back, I might see who, or what, is walking away from the tracks and disappearing into the harbor fog.